Super Junkoid, a Super Metroid ROM hack developed by P. Yoshi. Now, as you may have heard, at least if you watched my Junkoid video, I'm not a big fan of Super Metroid hacks. I used to speedrun Super Metroid, and people always suggested ROM hacks to me. Now, even back then, I'd tell people I don't like them, but they'd still convince me to try one out. And usually it was always the same result. I remember one in particular, someone tricked me into playing it, and I can't think of the name of it, but it was just so obtuse, cryptic, and just way too hard. Now, I'm sure they're not all like that, but I don't know, they've always just put a bad taste in my mouth. However, I don't think Super Junkoid suffers from any of these issues. It's well designed, has cool custom graphics, and all in all, was a good experience for me. Spoilers, I guess. I like this one.
Barbaric. Just a moment.
Now, I do have some complaints. They're minor nitpicks, so no one lose their mind, okay? You are such a piece of shit. Super Junkoid is the greatest video game ever. You will never be relevant, and when you die, no one will mourn. Post anyway. So the game starts out with its own text crawl, just like Super Metroid. It's short and sweet, much shorter than Super Metroid's text crawl, and it has its own custom art. So the story is pretty much the same. Junko saves a snake, it follows her around, turns out it's a demon, and it wants to worship Junko and keep her inside her dreams forever. So Junko decides to confront it in her dreams. Where else? Now, just like the first game, we start off in our bed, we wake up in our dream, and before we start this officially, there's some things I'd like to mention. Like some quality of life stuff. Like the respin. Now, this isn't exclusive to Junkoid, but I appreciate it being here. Basically, the spin jump reset, if you break out a spin, or like a flip when you're jumping, you can hit jump again and restart your spin, which allows you to continue your wall jump instead of just falling down to the ground. Or, if you're space jumping and you get hit, you can start up your space jump again, no problem. The map also got a nice overhaul. When you discover a map station, represented by this mole character, nice touch by the way, it not only reveals unexplored areas, but also indicates unclaimed items with a question mark. While some might argue this simplifies gameplay too much, I personally find it pretty nice. Even with these pointers, you still have to find like secret entrances to some of these items. It's a thoughtful addition that makes completing the game 100% more accessible. From my experience, I usually found these map stations after obtaining a key upgrade or after a boss fight. Usually these map hints mainly aided in finding minor upgrades like missile upgrades or E-tanks and stuff like that. I think the implementation seems well executed. Hot springs also make a return, which isn't really a quality of life improvement over Super Metroid because Super Metroid had refill stations. However, they now combine the refill station, or the hot spring, with the save room. Now here's where my first nitpick comes in. When I first started playing, I played for 1 or 2 hours without saving, and the whole time I was wondering, where the hell is the save station? And I got pretty far and made it all the way to mechanical and went into the gauntlet, which was a huge mistake. And I ended up finding a powerful enemy, and I got killed and lost 2 hours or so of progress. No, I didn't save. Oh my god. Is there a save? I lost everything? How do you save in this game? Bruh. This made me really miss the manual from Junkoid 1. Now maybe he'll add in a manual later, but I think this really would have saved me a lot of trouble if there had been a manual and it pointed out where the save was. I might just be an idiot though, and maybe not a lot of people had the same problem, but for me, I definitely didn't realize soon enough. And if you haven't played this game yet, I'll let you know. It's right next to the hot spring. It's this little platform, you hit up, and you save. Okay, so let's talk about the graphics. Super Junkoid offers a unique graphical improvement over what one might expect from a Super Metroid ROM hack. I mean, if it wasn't for the minimap, would you even be able to tell that this is a Super Metroid ROM hack, judging from this screenshot? This is almost bordering into original game territory, I feel like. And hey, maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe the next Junkoid could be a standalone game. I'd play it. Put that shit on Steam, dude. Super Junkoid manages to step out of Super Metroid Shadow by adopting a unique visual direction. You know, instead of the often seen alien planet setting, this game ventures into new territories. It has a lot of tailored tile sets, and it even has this custom HUD. Even the status menu features custom graphics that look really impressive. I think all these things really add to the game's distinct identity. Also, not only does it display the percentage of items you've discovered, but it also shows an in-game timer. Both of which are a really nice quality of life improvement that I forgot to mention earlier. There's also a lot of cool details in the background, like these stained glass windows with Junko on them. Or in this beginning area has sort of this cavernous cave vibe going on in the background. Or even this cluster of Birdo doors in the background makes me think, what's behind all those doors? There's even some parallax scrolling here and there, which I'm sure the titular host from GameSack would lose his fucking mind over.
Did you just say tits?
There's also some really cool enemy sprites. I'll let the Crocomire sprite speak for itself and my reaction.
Oh my god. Any charge rooms. This is pretty cool.
Super Junkoid also includes unique graphics for different equipment, like Space Jump being a broom. You know, it's like reminiscent of a witch in flight. It's a nice touch. Additionally, the Shine Spark animation features Junko soaring through the air in a bathing suit, adding a whimsical touch to the gameplay. Or, you know, it's just made for degenerate weebs. Now, quite frankly, I think the game's visuals are pretty amazing. However, some of the bosses leave a bit to be desired. I was a little disappointed with Kraid and Ridley. That's the only nitpick I have about the game's graphics, I think. Although, I do think Phantoon was really cool too, now that I think about it, which is what I'm showing here. All in all, I think the visuals and graphics are really good, except for some really minor nitpick that no one else probably cares about. I think the graphics are really well done. Beyond its gameplay, the game's themes and immersive atmosphere truly set it apart from other ROM hacks. It gets pretty dark too. Jesus Christ! Let's start with the Ice Castle, which the entrance of kind of reminds me of a Zelda 2 palace. This captivating area features a tile set that's made of snowy areas and ice blocks, enhanced by icicles draping down from the ceiling in certain sections. In the backdrop, majestic castles adds depth, and at times, the setting invokes memories of Symphony of the Night. Not to mention, the area is inhabited by some intriguing enemies that also fit the theme, like these snowmen. And these charming penguins who seem quite at home in their chilly surroundings. Oh my god, I can't believe I wrote that. Blood Bethel gives off a hauntingly demonic church ambience. You'll find yourself navigating literal pools of blood that you have to swim through. And bodies that eerily look a lot like Junko punctuate the environment, amplifying the unsettling atmosphere. The detailed stained glass windows, which I highlighted earlier, add to the area's gothic charm. Interestingly, the enemies also bear a striking resemblance to zombie-like Junkos. I don't know what that's all about, but one thing is clear. The entire setting immerses the player in a really unsettling atmosphere. Mechanical, or Deep Purple as it's called in this game, makes a return, and it's more or less the same as Junkoid 1. It's a weird mechanical area that's sort of alien. It's got these fetuses and glass tubes, you know, just to make it weird. And the last area I want to discuss, the False Idol. Your entry into this realm is nothing short of surreal, as you step through the gaping maw of this demonic man-bear pig. As you journey through its innards, the design is impressively accurate, capturing the unsettling essence of what one might envision the insides of such a creature to be. Complementing the eerie ambience is the perfectly chosen Taurian music. And yeah, this is exactly what my stomach sounds like after I've eaten something I probably shouldn't have. My stomach has literally made this sound before. You ever take a shit that hurt so bad that you took off all your clothes because you didn't know what else to do? Yeah, that's exactly what Torian sounds like. They fucking nailed it. Noteworthy too is the atmospheric change after you kill the sub-boss in this area. After defeating the Spore Spawn, the idle area undergoes a transformation, becoming desolate. And even the head of the idol appears to be dead after this transformation. All in all, Super Junkoid masterfully captures a distinct atmosphere. I believe no other Super Metroid ROM hack achieves such a unique vibe so effectively. Let's talk about the level design. Super Junkoid offers consistent pacing throughout its levels. Each area has its own distinct feel, without dragging on for too long, and just like Junkoid, it has a hub area that connects it to the other zones. The outskirts serves as a central hub, connecting to several areas, including Blood, Purple, Idle, and Ice. Deep Purple is especially notable because it contains multiple elevators, and these elevators provide direct access to Blood Bethel, the outskirts, and Ice Castle. Apart from the elevators, Deep Purple also has direct connections to False Idol and Sheol. This interconnected design ensures that players have multiple pathways to explore, creating a nice dynamic and engaging experience. It's a testament to good level design, as all paths eventually lead back to the outskirts. Such a layout allows for intuitive traversing around the game, providing players with a sense of progression and flow. Speaking of which, at the start of the game, players are confined to the outskirts. Only upon acquiring the high jump boots and rat cloak can they access a specific sub-area within the outskirts. You're trapped in here until you find the wall jump upgrade, and yeah, it's its own item now, which I'll talk more about later, and bombs. Now this kind of reminds me of Metroid Fusion, which I don't like very much, but you don't get trapped here long, and it's a good way to make sure you get important items before you start exploring around. Once you're out of this area, you don't really get locked in, and in fact, I was able to traverse through most of the game, I'm pretty sure. Getting trapped in here ensures players understand the mechanics, like being able to wall jump, or being able to use bombs to blow up certain blocks. Some of the puzzles even mimic those in Super Metroid, like this one that seems like it's straight out of wrecked ship's exterior. There's even this one spot in Mechanical that resembles Criteria a lot. I mean, this is straight out of Super Metroid. It's even got the gauntlet like I mentioned earlier. And check this out. Can you stutter step short charge this? I still can. And for the most part, I didn't run into any pointless rooms or anything like that, just like I said in Junkoid 1. And everything flowed really nicely for the most part, except for one thing. And this is my biggest complaint. I feel like requiring people to do suitless runs through Meridia sections is not a good idea. The first time you do it, it's not that big of a deal. Do a short run through water in the beginning to get high jump boots, which, whatever, not a big deal. But you have to go through a whole water section just to get the gravity suit. Now my train of thought was, well, the gravity suit's probably not in the place where I need gravity suit, right? So I spent a lot of time searching outside of Blood for gravity. But it's in Blood, and Blood is the Meridia section pretty much. And I searched through almost all of Blood before I ended up finding it.
What's this? What is this? It was here? I just kept missing it? Oh my god. We could have had this like 4 hours ago. Like, oh my god. I just missed this dumb little spot. Like, yeah, now that I did the whole underwater area without it.
I even beat Botwoon without it, and I think I searched the majority of the map and collected almost everything else without it. And I think the only thing stopping me from fighting the boss in that area was a flag requiring that I had gravity suit to open the door. Now, my first playthrough was done on version 1.1, And 1.2 did come out, and I think I read in some patch notes, or maybe I read something that Piyoshi said on the forums or something, that instead of having one entrance to where the gravity suit is, there's now 2 entrances to that room. So that hopefully makes it easier to find now. And this wasn't the end of the world. I wasn't discouraged at all, pretty much. But I did search through a large portion of the map before I ended up finding it. Like, just to give you an idea of how much stuff I did before I found gravity. I don't know how many bosses I beat, but I think I only needed to kill Dragon and Ridley. I had Speed Booster, I killed Gold Torizo, I had Space Jump, I had Shine Spark, I had every beam except one. I think I had somewhere around 40 missiles or magic shots, and I had 475 health, all before I found the gravity suit. And I'm pretty sure I even got that like pseudo screw attack ability, but maybe you needed a heated suit for that. I'm not 100% sure about that one. But I did a lot of stuff before I got the gravity suit. And in fact, I think after I got the gravity suit, an hour later, I had beaten the game. That's how far I got without it. Now, everyone put your pitchforks down. This is just a minor complaint. I don't like doing suitless shit in Meridia. I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone's gonna call me out for this, but just in case you are, this is a small complaint. I still think this is a top-notch Super Metroid hack. And honestly, since I haven't played that many, I have played some, this one is my favorite. So please, just hear me out on that, alright? Thanks. So let's delve into the items in Super Junkoid. They can differ significantly from Super Metroid. For instance, instead of missiles, we have magic shots, which behave more like fully charged shots. There's no charge beam in the game, and at first this might seem like a questionable change, but I found it enjoyable, never missing the traditional missiles or charge shot. I mean, do you really want to sit there and charge up your beam? It can be kind of annoying. You usually use missiles anyway to take out enemies instead of sitting there to charge up a shot, or always charging to have it ready. While beams seem to function similarly to Super Metroid, ice and wave beam blocks have been introduced. From what I recall, they get areas like a map station behind these ice blocks, or missile upgrades, and I think a shortcut behind wave beam blocks. Their usage is limited, but aptly done, especially considering the game has eliminated 2 out of the 3 types of locked doors. Without missiles or power bombs, the only locked doors you'll encounter are baseball doors. And baseballs function like super missiles. This never felt problematic due to the game's layout and the presence of various gating mechanisms like bomb blocks, ice blocks, wave blocks, speed booster blocks, and baseball doors. The rat cloak, which is the equivalent to the morph ball, comes packaged with the spring ball, which I think is pretty appropriate considering that you're a rat and not a ball. And are you familiar with mock balling? Well, now you can do a mock rat. Rat burst, which are the bombs, function a little different. Instead of being on a timer, the bombs explode right away. Bomb jumping, however, is disabled, probably as a way to gate out seasoned players from sequence breaking, which I don't even mind. I never really missed bomb jumping in my playthrough. The Rat Dasher, which is equivalent to the Speed Booster, presents a dilemma for me personally. Having the speed boost on the rat means optimal speed usually involves being in the rat form. I'd much rather be flying around as Junko personally. Now, I guess you could get really interesting with gating off players with speed booster blocks with it functioning this way, especially if you pair it with the Shine Spark, but I still prefer the vanilla speed booster. Speaking of Shine Spark, it's also its own item now. I think this could be a cool idea. It definitely opens up some different ways to break speed booster blocks, like in cramped areas like I mentioned before. However, I was constantly triggering Shine Sparks inadvertently. I'd use a spark, forget to turn the item off, and go to shoot, only to trigger another Shine Spark. This is mostly a me problem, and I do think it's a cool idea, but I kind of prefer the way Shine Spark functions in the vanilla game. Wall kicks, or wall jumping, is its own piece of equipment now, which I also mentioned before. I actually don't have a strong opinion on this, surprisingly. You get it early enough, and it seems like a good way to gate experienced players into playing the early sections the intended way. I mean, you don't want these nerds ruining your game, especially this guy. What a dork. Wave Bangle is like a nerfed screw attack, but you need to press forward twice while in the air to trigger it. I'm not really sure what the point of this thing is. When you first get it, there is a barrier that needs it to get through, but I only encountered this right after I got Wave Bangle, and never again. I guess it's good for passing through enemies while you're, space jumping through the air. Magic Shot's upgrade permanently gives you the charge shot damage. You don't even have to select the missiles anymore. The baseball gets a damage boost, and the swimsuit upgrade makes it so you no longer take damage while shine sparking. Definitely some cool ideas here, but there's a few I'd rather leave behind. Finally, I'd like to discuss the music in this game. The musical arrangements gel well with the different rooms' ambience. While I'm uncertain if the game has original music, many areas incorporate tracks from established games, like a Super Metroid remix, Castlevania, and even a song from Zelda. I was kinda hoping for more original compositions coming from Junkoid 1, but the selected tracks complement the environments well enough. I kinda wish there was maybe some remixes from Junkoid 1, but I guess that just wasn't in the cards. All the tracks featured in this review are from Super Junkoid, except for the piece played during the item section of the review, which is by Cod Power. All in all, I think they all fit well enough. I got no complaints. In conclusion, I genuinely enjoyed my experience with Super Junkoid, even with my minor grievances. Its distinct atmosphere, non-alien planet setting, and custom graphics make it stand out among other Super Metroid ROM hacks. If you haven't tried it yet, I wholeheartedly recommend it. It's undoubtedly my top pick when it comes to Super Metroid ROM hacks. Hey, it's me again. I gotta tell you guys, this review really kicked my ass. I ran into so many hurdles. My PC CRT has been acting real weird. It's basically broken. My mic broke. I lost the remote to our RetroTink 5X, which I need so I can use optimal settings when I'm recording this stuff. Also, hopefully I got all my points across okay and covered everything I wanted to. I'll probably think of stuff later. It's really hard to express everything you want to in these videos sometimes. But anyway, what did you think? Did you play Super Junkoid? Is Super Metroid Redesign the worst Super Metroid ROM hack ever made? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe too. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'm doing it again.